Good afternoon. This is Melissa with the StockSwoosh.com, and it is Wednesday, March 20th. And I'm looking today at the Golden Gap FDX. And really, just what an amazing, beautiful gap today. I really sometimes I'm so amazed at how beautiful these stocks trade and work. This morning in the room, I talked about this and I said, this is the best thing and this is what we're going to have to do. And, yesterday was Lulu and it was choppy and whippy. And I said, you know what? I'm aware of the way FDX moves. I've traded it before. And the day of the gap, if this is going to set up and act right and trade correctly, it's going to provide beautiful entries, beautiful moves, and not do anything wiggly and jiggly to be out of its normal trading range, that it's going to actually give the kind of entries that a stock should. When stocks trade on the day of the gap, when they're very good gaps, they trade tight. They don't whip around and fly around like banshees. Okay, they actually do what they're supposed to do. And it doesn't matter if they're $50, $98, $250, or $100. The bottom line is, even IBM. I remember the one day, was it last year? Yeah, IBM, traded with incredibly beautiful. I mean, the day of the gap, it had like a 20-cent stop or something, and ran like, I don't know how many dollars. It was just phenomenal. These things have great entries when they are a high quality gap, a highly rated gap, a gap that I call a golden gap. As it turns out, the real huge big reason why I said we're doing this today, although I did say if this decides to rally and open and rally up to 104 and whip up with a big tail, I'm not going to do it. I said that today. I said exactly what it had to do today, and I said if it does that, I'm not in it. It didn't even do that. I said this has to show immediate weakness on the open, absolutely no green, want to see solid red. If it's red on the open, I'm in it. So didn't get up here, didn't do it. I saw the weakness happening in it all morning. Beautiful, fantastic weakness, which confirmed the gap. And I said, you know what, in this kind of market, where the market is having a run up, I want to make sure that my stocks are going to hold the direction of the gap in the weakness, because FDX has been rallying. FDX is a strong stock. There's no way around this. So this has got to hold the gap and go in the right direction of the gap for me to play it. Because in a bullish market, you don't want to short bullish stocks that are in uptrends unless they are high quality gaps. 98.41. Look at that. 98.79. Ugh, 98.82. Look what that did. This came in today and sat right on top of these two people here. Talk about a beautiful, perfect picture. Just really, really, really love the way that these things move and trade. So here's the story. Like the gap, what did it do in the last week? Let's just look at it. Had a bullish gap, a gap that you could have played that gapped into a buy setup, set up here on a bullish gap that gapped up and ran and continued the direction of the stock, a nice bullish gap that ran up and broke out to all-time highs. This was just back 2 weeks ago on March 5th. Look at it. Ran up to 109.48, came down in, ran up to, went a couple pennies, 109.66. Over the high here, couldn't get any higher. Sign number one. Actually, no, cross that off. Here's sign number one. Bullish gap, that's a buy setup, broke out to brand new highs. It can't carry through. It should have carried through. This was clue number one. Didn't carry through. 3 green bars. Bullish gap up, 3 green bars, or 3 green bars. 1, 2, where's the third one? Came in right away. Came in right away in here. So that was the first sign there was a problem, that the gap up wasn't going to hold and that the new highs wasn't going to continue. Then today was the real sign here on the 11th. And then you got another confirmation. This did a buy setup and tried to carry through and couldn't go higher and gap down here. This entry is a bearish gap entry. You could have shorted here on the 18th. It's dangerous to do that right before an earnings, which is what happened today. But you could have done it, and you would have gotten paid huge. 108. And opened today at 102.5. This stock traded so beautiful today. Opened at 102, ran up to 102.5, and came in and closed on top of these bars. I said in the room this morning, this thing could open and swoosh. It didn't do that, but it had every potential and it could have. These are the kind of things when they start to run like the Dickens, they just go wild. Here's the target. I did say we could get to $93 today, and everybody was salivating, but it could have got there. It didn't, but it could have, and it will. This is the target. What's a swing trade entry today on the daily chart? Let's just look here at the 15-minute. Fed day today, so I told everyone to be careful after 2 o'clock and actually be flat. But you know what? This stock ran all into the Fed announcement. Ran down into 2 o'clock, ran down into the close. Just was so weak it couldn't. Nobody even got out of this into the close. Look, like a couple people. Boom. Nothing. Everyone is out of this thing or holding it into the next day. This is a beautiful gap. The announcement didn't even have any effect on this. This didn't do anything wrong the entire day. Nothing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Run down in the morning, broke through that $101 number. Ran up then, did not break. I had 129 was a number. I said, be careful. But then by this time, I said it was going to break 100. Ran up into here. I wanted it to hold 101. Of course, this is FDX, and it booped over it by 15 cents and then came in hard and then broke 100 and then ran down here. And by that time, you're like, here it is. Ran up here, look, 133, 129. You could have entered right down there and taken it into the close. This is just not high odds to be trading during the Fed announcement, but it worked. You could have kept trailing it. You could have had a hard stop bar by bar by bar in the 5 or the 15. You could have done that if you really wanted to get to the bigger target. It was hard to do this, though, after a big move like this in the morning to stay in it all the way down. I'm back and forth with profit taking on stock trades all the time. Take the whole trade out, get out of the first trade. If I have my day in, then I'm out. Then I look for a second or third setup. But I'm so picky about entries. If I don't get the perfect entry in the second or third setup, then I might miss the full-on target move. Or you take the trade, you take half off into the first drop, leave the rest trail, and then to the bigger target. And then how do you still manage the bigger target into the lunchtime period? And this is just the whole, back and forth about the money management. And as my trading progresses and my size of my trades progresses, it's really something you have to constantly weigh back and forth. You don't want to stay in a trade and you're up all this money and have your day in and let it retrace against you. You don't. What if it does push up against it? You don't want to lose, especially when you have size and you have a day in. But then again, I've made money in stuff that's gone green and done tails and flipped by taking it all out. It's just, I'm back and forth with it all the time. I'll let you know when I have it perfect. I do have the gap perfect. I do have the entries perfect. I have the targets and know what they are. But the money management about taking it off and getting back in and all that stuff is a work in progress as my size progresses and my trading skill level progresses as well, to be honest with you. So here this is. Held the high of the day. Beautiful. It was weak right away, as I said it needed to do that. This is a 5-minute. Dropped into the 5-minute. Ran under the low of the day. Backed right up against it. Here was another entry here. It held 101.60 and then dropped again. Here was getting a lift into the lunchtime period, which it always does. But here was the pop over 101. And then as soon as it did it, it held right again and look, came back down into itself. And then just bled the whole day. Bled the entire day down. Really, this was the only pop it had. At 11:30. Look at that. Let's go look at the one. Look at this. Everybody's holding this overnight. Nobody even got out of this today. Look at that. What a nice gap trade. Let me just quick look. And oftentimes these things will do this. They will bleed into the close. They'll just keep going. And the target is $93. That's the reason why you would hold it overnight. I'm not saying it's going to get there tomorrow, but we'll go back and look at the daily chart in a minute. I'll show you what I saw. Here's the entry I caught in this today. Absolutely perfect. There's nobody out there that is teaching or trading bearish professional gaps in the complex, detailed, focused way that I do. Not just the rating system I do, but my entries. When I'm on, I'm on. Just like one of my students said in the room, he said, Melissa, when you're hot, you're hot. And when I see these things, I'm right on top of them. Here was the entry. 102.01. Add right in here again and look back to the same price. You take the first trade here. It may go immediately. You're in it. The stop is over here. Okay, this is FDX and it was a little spready in the morning, but that's okay. Came back down, you do the add right on top of it, and you've got the confirmation, and look, it adds right at the same price. You're in, these are the trades that I take more than a normal risk because I get the add with the confirmation. So you know you can do it. This is called conviction. The conviction, first of all, is in the gap. and did exactly what I wanted it to do. I said I want it to open to show immediate weakness. I don't want this thing to rally at all to 104. I don't want it to do it no way, no how. Boom. I wasn't in this, but I was stalking and waiting. When it tried to rally up, it couldn't have held the high of the day, and it set up right here. It was in. No hesitation. 100% conviction. Press the button. 100% conviction here. Press the button. Take the ad. Whatever you've got. Take all you can, and you get the drop. Now, I was out of Summit into this up here because this was profit immediately, and I like to book and get green on the day. Now, what happened after that? We had a huge target on this. A huge target on this originally. At some point when it started to back up and I was watching the market, and this was having trouble breaking in the morning till it broke, I said, I don't think this is going to get to $93 today. The only way it really would have gotten to $93 is if the stock would have broke 100 within the first 30 minutes of the day. If this FDX would have broken a $100 pivot point at that level before 10 o'clock, or by 10, then it would have followed through and maybe got to $93. I mean, it really needed to break actually in the first 15 minutes. It really needed to swoosh. That's what it needed to do. It needed to open and drop $2.50 in the first 15 minutes. And that's what a swoosh is. And it didn't do that. And then I told everybody it's not going to go to 93, but it's going to have still a good target on the day, which it did. And this could have done it. Looking at the daily chart, people are going to get out of this more tomorrow. This is a watch for tomorrow. It's broken through another area and kind of just ran out of day into the close. This is probably either going to open up a little bit under the bar from today and then trade it down, or actually gap into the bar low of today. You know, these people here that are all in this are up money, and they're not down. Now these people are down. These people were down, and all these people were down, and these people are really down. But these people aren't down. Everybody from here down. They're in the stock long and they're not down money. They're going to get home from work tonight, or they're going to look at this chart. They're going to look at the earnings report. They're going to say, and they're going to decide to get out then tomorrow morning. And that's what's going to create this coming down in on itself. Not everybody gets out the day of the gap. I must be clear about that. That's why these things continue. I mean, you do understand that. But the days you get humongous bars and $10 bars, which is absolutely could have done it. I mean, this could have done it, would have been the biggest bar in the chart. By the way, this is one of the biggest bars in the chart. You see here. That could have happened. Was there anything like that? I think all these bars are pretty much the same. Yeah, $6 or so. Yeah, I mean, it could have done it. I've seen this happen. I've seen it happen a million times. So it's going to do it, but it didn't do it today. But it was a fabulous gap and a beautiful play. And this is the play of the day. I don't know if this is going to be the golden gap of the week or not, but it is definitely the golden gap of the day, March 20th. And a nice gap to just book some money and chunk on to the week. And in reference to the market and the Fed announcement, you've just got to be careful during these things. You can stay in trades and stick through them, but if you do, and the stock starts to fly around like crazy, then you're going to have to protect yourself in some fashion. So if you're going to stay in a trade, then you have to use a hard stop into the announcement, although it's not suggested to do that. But once again, that just shows the proven weakness in this. Nothing that anything did on the planet was going to stop this thing from going down today. It's a really nice that I can see these things so well in the morning to know they're going to work and pick them and rate them properly. And really, that entry I had this morning is just really, really good. For me, the most important thing is picking the gap right. For me, the most important thing is getting the entry correct. And you have to manage your own money management the way you want to in reference to sizing positions and taking out profits. I think as a trader, the best you can do is make sure you make money. That's what the goal is. Some days you make medium, some days you make small, some days you make a lot, some days are huge. You have to figure out what you're okay with. I think no matter what you do, the level of consistency in booking money and making money has to be there. And that's why I love the fact that I am so good on my first entry in the morning. And the fact that I take a trade and get my first entry and it's no suffering for me. Literally the way that I've determined how to trade my stocks and take the entries and do all the things that I do is I actually have a way where I determine what the best entry is, what the quality entry is, what the stop is supposed to be, that I'm trying to get in the stock on these shorts at the high of the day to take it down. And the reality is that that kind of aggressive entry is what I love, because as soon as I get in it, I'm up money. I don't have to wait. I don't have to suffer. I have to wait a half an hour, an hour. I'm in it. I'm up. And that's a beautiful thing. So this is Melissa with thestockswoosh.com. Thank you so much for listening tonight. If you are interested in the Golden Gap course, it is this weekend, March 23rd and 24th. Feel free to contact me at melissa@thestockswoosh.com if you're interested in signing up. There is a few spaces left. And if you take the class this weekend, you're going to be able to raid and find and play and get these entries in plays like this yourself. This is the reason that you would want to take my class. Just to get a play like this. It more than covers the cost of my class, the money you would have made in this trade today, and learning how to take that entry at 102.01. So, this is Melissa with thestockswoosh.com. Hope everybody has a great night.